Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Zimbabwean activists have vowed to continue with planned protests against President Robert Mugabe's government. Under hashtag Tajamuga, they have resolved to forge ahead with the protests despite a heavy police presence. Last week, police fired tear gas on protesters who had gathered at Freedom Square. The protests turned violent after the police attacked civilians, this resulting in the burning and looting of several shops. Meanwhile, Amnesty International marked what it calls International Day of the Disappeared on Monday. The organization has called on the Zimbabwean authorities to intensify the search for missing Itai Dzamara. A pro-democracy activist, Dzamara, was abducted by 5 unknown men on 9 March last year and was never to be seen again. We are live, and this is Question Time. Will President Robert Mugabe go anytime soon? What will bring an end to the crisis in Zimbabwe? And how can Zimbabweans in the diaspora help resolve the challenges faced by Zimbabwe? And indeed, where is Itai Dzamara? Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. As I've said, Zimbabwean activists have vowed to continue with planned protests against President Robert Mugabe's government. Under hashtag Tajamuga, they have resolved to forge ahead with the protests despite a heavy police presence. Last week, police fired tear gas on protesters who had gathered at Freedom Square. The protests turned violent after the police attacked civilians, this resulting in the burning and looting of several shops. Meanwhile, Amnesty International marked what it calls International Day of the Disappeared on Monday. The organization has called on the Zimbabwean authorities to intensify the search for missing Itai Dzamara. A pro-democracy activist, Dzamara was abducted by 5 unknown men on 9 March last year and was never to be seen again. Indeed, we are live and you can call us and there you've used the numbers to dial 089-110-4210. If you're outside the borders, 0027-89-110-4210. My guest today is the ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe to South Africa, His Excellency Isaac Moyo. And on the line, we are firstly joined by Shingai Nyoka, our SABC correspondent who is in Harare. Shingai, welcome to Question Time. Just give us an update. We were told there's a shutdown today. Was there any? Okay, we don't seem to have Shingai as yet. However, the ambassador is with me here today. Ambassador, thank you very much for making time. I know we invited you quite late, but we really appreciate you making time.
My pleasure.
But let's, perhaps before we even go further, there's a rumor that President Mugabe is not well. He had to leave the SADC summit for Singapore. Can you just talk to that?
Well, it is a rumor that President Mugabe is not well. He did leave the summit yesterday according to his program because he had to be somewhere today, and it was not because he was unwell. He only left because that was in accordance with his program.
So can you confirm that his departure from the SADC summit was not due to ill health?
His departure from the SADC summit has nothing to do with his health status. He still enjoys very good health for a man of his age.
Now, one of the first 4 questions that we asked was, will President Mugabe go anytime soon?
That is not a demand of the majority of Zimbabweans who elected President Mugabe overwhelmingly in the general elections of 2013, knowing pretty well about his age. So as far as those Zimbabweans are concerned, who are the majority, President Mugabe is their president until the next elections in 2018.
How else will you know that Zimbabweans are still happy with President Mugabe if you're saying that at the moment there's never been a demand for him to resign?
there has been a demand for him to resign from some groups. Mm-hmm. Only this morning, 20 people picketed at our embassy in Pretoria.
Out of all the thousands of Zimbabweans in South Africa, only 20? Only
20, and they gave me a petition which I received. One of their demands is that the president must step down immediately, and I did ask them on where the 20 people derive strength to speak on behalf of the millions of Zimbabweans who voted for President Mugabe, and of course we do hear from those small groups, the Tajamukas you are making reference to, and the other opposition parties, that they want the president to go. But we also hear from the several hundreds of thousands of ZANU-PF supporters, and as far as we know, by any systematic count in Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF continues to dominate that political space, and the supporters are quite happy to still have their president.
What are your views on hashtag this flag, hashtag Tajamuka?
They are groups fronted by some young people, quite energetic,
yes,
who try to make themselves the only spokesmen for Zimbabwean people, and we know that they are not. Hence, they make the kind of extravagant demands they make at times, and when they are ignored by the Zimbabwean people, they get surprised. I think what this simply tells is that they are speaking at tangent with the wishes of the greater majority of Zimbabweans.
Elizabeth, you are in Senton. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, welcome, Elizabeth.
Hi. I would want to contribute about this Zimbabwean debate. Yes. I'm a Zimbabwean.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I would want to think Zimbabwe at this moment needs violence. We have the resources in our hands, and the way forward now is maybe to eradicate corruption, restart our industry, create jobs, and people move forward.
But Elizabeth, what do you mean Zimbabwe needs violence?
I'm saying it doesn't need violence.
Oh, it doesn't need, okay.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. There is no need for violence in Zimbabwe. And if you notice, it is a few people who are starting this and being pushed by people who have got political ambitions. And the very people who are saying they've suffered economically at the hands of maybe ZANU-PF, as they are claiming, are the very people, if this violence goes on to become a civil war, who are going to suffer. The leaders who take the ordinary people into the streets to view their views, cause violence, disturbances, won't be there.
Okay.
Let's look at the issue of Rwanda. No, not Rwanda, the neighbor to Rwanda, where there is civil war because of election results.
Burundi.
It is Burundi, thank you for that. It is the ordinary people who are suffering, the ordinary people who are dying.
Okay.
If people are not happy about the president, they should start campaigning now. They should put their things in order, go to the people, show them who they are and what they can do for them.
Okay.
And then come elections, people will vote for them.
Okay, thanks very much, Elizabeth. Thank you very much for that call. But whereas she sounds quite patriotic to the current administration as well. But there are reports of violence. People are not free to demonstrate. They are pounced on by the police, beaten up, arrested, and all that.
You know, I think when you look at the protest actions that have been taking place in some of the streets of Harare recently, these are not just small issue protests. The protesters are going out there to demand essentially one thing. They want to bring about the downfall of the government. They want to use the streets as an avenue to get into political office. Zimbabwe is a democracy, and the people are free to organize themselves as political parties and agitate for their causes in the political space. Come 2018, if ordinary Zimbabweans have understood their messages, they will probably vote for them.
But
I don't
you
know.
risk being arrested once you go into opposition in Zimbabwe.
But when you say from the beginning that you are going into the street to overthrow a government, what do you expect? That the government must fold its hands until you have arrived at its doorstep to overthrow it? You are indulging in an unconstitutional search for power, and you get certain responses from constitutional bodies if you do that.
Okay, we're gonna take Petrus only after the break. We need to take a very quick break. When we return, Petrus, please stay on the line. We'll take your call. This is question time. Please don't go away.
Do you need a funeral policy?
Joy is found in the little things.
Ke ho phedisa, ho fepa le ho hodisa.
Ukuba ibone ukuvela kwethuba lalokho okungenzeka.
In being there when one journey ends and another begins.
'n Idee van die klein dingetjies wat kosbare herinneringe word.
Life is the gift of growing new memories each day.
So that our loved ones can preserve them after we are no longer here.
Life is a gift to us.
Since 1918, AVBOB has comforted and supported South African families in their time of need.
Protecting their loved ones' memories with respect and dignity.
Plus, committed and trusted funeral representatives.
With more than 250 branches nationwide.
There for you every hour of every day.
AVBOB provides a complete funeral service solution for everyone, even if you're not an AVBOB policyholder.
Make sure your family comes first. Always. AVBOB. We're here for you.
If you would like AVBOB to call you about a new policy, SMS family and your name to 41790.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Zimbabwe's ambassador to South Africa, His Excellency Isaac Moyo. Petrus, you are in Limpopo. Welcome. Okay, Petrus is gone. We're sorry. Please do give us a call again, and we'll definitely take your call there. But Ambassador, I'm saying that being in the opposition in Zimbabwe, you risk being arrested. And I can hardly think of one who hasn't been. Maybe Joyce Mujuru.
Well, there are many that have not been arrested. I think the security officials don't just arrest people who have not broken the law. When opposition members have held their rallies, and recently in the Midlands town of Gweru,
yes,
there was a rally jointly attended by Mr. Changirai and Mrs. Joyce Mujuru and others, where they purported to be coming together.
Yes.
It was a political rally with their messages. They were able to have these rallies. Mrs. Mujuru is currently going from province to province in Zimbabwe, holding rallies. She has not been arrested by anybody. The issue of arrests come when the opposition members try to take shortcuts because they are so desperate to bring about the end of ZANU-PF, and they are stopped when they try to do that.
Okay, Temba, you are in Randfontein.
Okay, my brother, the only thing is that the man that you are talking to is not talking what is happening on the ground, really. You were right. Then these people, if they get opposition, they will get arrested. And the only thing in Zimbabwe, demonstration is like what is happening is not like what is happening in South Africa. It is free and everything is done right. But in Zimbabwe, they are using the force, the police, the soldiers to harass ordinary people. Just to think of another lady who was just beaten by only staying by the court. She was not part of the demonstrators, but she was beaten without being asked. So there is no democracy. There is nothing. And what he is saying is not true. He knows what really is happening. Let even him
is lying.
The older people a chance to rule like what he's doing. We have got small ambassadors that can come and work here in South Africa. We've got people who are even young and energetic like what you were saying, who can do something for Zimbabwe so that Zimbabwe can go forward.
He's not old. Temba, he's not. The ambassador is not an old man.
He's an old man. We need young blood.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how young it will come this time around. But, well, I guess the question of freedom of expression is an issue in Zimbabwe. But I'm going to put this question to you. Where is Itai Dzamara?
I do not know where Itai Dzamara is, neither does the government know where Itai Dzamara is. So I am not able to answer your question because Itai Dzamara well, we know he disappeared, but the government has not accepted responsibility. They have been looking for him. They are still looking for him. We have not found him yet.
But really, Ambassador, do you really expect us to believe you? That the government is really looking for Itai Dzamara? He was a thorn.
You know, this is what the government has announced for everybody to hear publicly, that they are not responsible for his disappearance. And they are looking for him. The police at one point were even giving updates of their investigations of this issue. So Itai Dzamara's disappearance is not a responsibility of government. Well, it is in the sense that government wants all its citizens to be secure, but government did not cause his disappearance.
Mpho, you are in Senton.
Yeah,
welcome.
Thanks, Mpho. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, you see, that man you are calling him, you know? That man you are calling him is excellent. Isaac Moore is an idiot. Yeah? These people, they are killing people all over the country. You see, this administration has destroyed our country. Ne? We are here in South Africa doing nothing. We are under poverty because of these ZANU-PF people. People like Isaac Moore. You see?
But why are you in South Africa then doing nothing? If you are doing nothing.
There is poverty in Zimbabwe. There is no work.
But you are still doing nothing in South Africa.
No, South Africa, we are getting one there and there, but this is not our country, you see.
Okay.
You will need to go back and rebuild our country.
Okay, thank you. One of the questions that I asked is, indeed, how can the diaspora help the situation in Zimbabwe?
Well, I think the diaspora that is more constructive could do a lot to help the situation in the country.
Address them. Talk to the diaspora in South Africa.
Of course, the constructiveness I'm talking about is very different from this clever man who just called, thinking that my views are idiotic. Yeah. Only his are what matters for the country. It is unfortunate if we could have such for Zimbabweans. Okay. But we have been trying to create economic space for our diasporans. The government is currently developing a diaspora policy. That diaspora policy tries to encourage people who are in the diaspora, some with resources, some with friendships and partnerships, business people, to get back home and engage the the business opportunities there are.
Okay.
We have a whole series of areas we have outlined for the diaspora to be involved in the tourism sector, in small to medium scale industrial sector, and in many others. And what we are doing is really trying to provide a policy framework that will guide these diasporans who want to get back home and contribute.
Gilbert, you are in Joburg or Gauteng? Oh, Gilbert is gone. Okay, Gilbert, please do give us a call back. We're sorry about that. Now, I want us to look at our Twitters, our Twitter page there. But one of the tweets that I received was, can the ambassador hire a 92-year-old man to run his company?
Zimbabwe is not a company, it's a country. So that, at a personal level, that's something else. But President Mugabe is hired by the collectivity of Zimbabweans, not one person.
Okay. Jean-Claude Mbuyamba says South Africa must stop supporting dictators in Africa like Mugabe and Joseph Kabila. The credibility of South Africa is at stake here. And Sanel SK says, when will it be time for the Zimbabwean people? That's a question that we need to address here. Diehat Malachi says, leave President Mugabe alone. He declared himself life president of Zimbabwe. I think we've got a call. Skomborero, welcome.
Well, thank you, Mpho. My name is Skomborero Dupra, and welcome to the ambassador.
Yes.
I just want to support the ambassador on some of the points he's making. One of the things he brings about, he speaks of, is about our president having been democratically elected. You know, fortunately for Zimbabweans, we are not as autocratic as some of these regimes. If you see what happened in Turkey, some of this anarchy that is taking place in Zimbabwe right now, they would have been arrested, but that has not happened. And then we speak of people like Morgan Tsvangirai and Joyce Mujuru, who want to appear as the poster boys of democracy. Whereas Morgan Tsvangirai, within his own party, he's refusing to step down. Our president was democratically elected. He did not come to power by the force of the gun. He has not refused to step down. He has said, let's go to the polls. If he loses at the polls, he said he's willing to step down. So I don't see what the problem is. That's why you get people like that man, I just forgot, the one who was insulting the ambassador, which is very rude. That is people who are shallow in thinking, who are bankrupt. They have no bankruptcy, they have no thought at all. They've run out of ideas, so they resort to insults. I think we must just sit down as sober Zimbabweans and see how to plan for our country together. As the ambassador is saying, obviously we are in an economic quagmire right now. There are a lot of things which really started because of I could tell you the whole history about how this started with Claire Short and Tony Blair, but that would take a bit of my time.
Sure.
But all I'm saying is let's sit down as sober Zimbabweans and work together for the future of our country.
Skomborero, thank you very much for the call. Ambassador, why should investors look at the country on the north of the Limpopo River from South Africa?
Well, because there are brilliant investment opportunities in the country. We have what it takes for good investors to make profitable returns in the country. We have the infrastructure. We have the labor force. We have peace and stability in the country, and we have a hard-working people. I can go on and on. Mining, manufacturing, infrastructure, rehabilitations. These are opportunities for business people, particularly South Africans, to look at, and we are ready for them. We are improving the atmosphere and the conditions of doing business in the country. So, yes, the challenges we have right now are a passing phenomenon. Zimbabwe shall rise, Zimbabwe shall be great once again.
Ambassador, thank you very much. And if we want to interview President Mugabe, are you willing to facilitate that for us?
Talk to me.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will definitely do. and we are making a commitment to our viewers. The ambassador is committed, and we hope it will happen. That was question time for today, by the way. And for me and the rest of the crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.